I'm going to share with you the top 10 games that made my year better. We're going to start with a few honorable mentions before we dive in, and there's a very important reason for that. Some of these games I did not get a chance to play enough for them to make my list, but I think they probably would have. First honorable mention is Vantage. Yes, I played it several times. However, I still felt like it wasn't enough to even scratch the surface. I enjoyed it. My family enjoyed it. We really enjoyed playing, but I really feel like I need at least a third play to go through to scratch the surface of this really innovative and interesting game. So, honorable mention, Vantage. My next honorable mention is another Stonemaier game, Origin Story, which is a trick-taking game where you're playing a superhero who is developing their origin story. The components are incredible, the art is amazing, and it is a really fun twist on trick-taking game. Again, I have not had a chance to play it quite enough to put it on my list. My next honorable mention is Orbit. This is a Reiner Knizia game. It's a bite-wing game, and it is so fun. We got to play it twice at 2 different player counts. It's so interesting. The puzzle of moving your ships and trying to visit each one of these planets as you go. Meanwhile, you're moving through space, you're moving the planets, you're picking up things that help you go further and increase your capacity for energy as well as your hand size to give you more options for moving. It looks beautiful. The components are great. It's really fun. So that is my next honorable mention. I have one more honorable mention, which I notice has made a lot of people's top 10 lists. Again, I just haven't had enough time to play it, and that is Take Time. This game I've heard described as a combination between the mind and the crew. I think that's a really apt naming of that style of gameplay. It's really interesting. You're going around, you're trying to place cards in order. You can't communicate, and that makes it really, really difficult and challenging. You can plan ahead of time. Anyway, this game is fantastic. We keep playing over and over. But again, we're just starting, so I couldn't put it on my list. All right, let's dive into the list. Now, one more thing I have to say. I am making another video for expansions, particularly standalone expansions, some of which would have absolutely made this list, but there was too many, so I decided to make another list. So I'll link that list in the description below of my top standalone and expansion games of the year, because some of them are amazing. Well, they're all amazing. Okay. This is another game that I thought I wasn't going to be able to include on the list because of not enough plays, but we have played it so much over the last few days that it absolutely made my list. So coming in at top 10 is Hot Streak. This is a betting racing game that is so much fun. I can see why it's made a lot of other people's top 10 lists. It is not the kind of game I would ever have thought I would have enjoyed, but several reviewers that I trust mentioned it as being so fun, so I was like, all right, I'm going to give it a try. It is brilliant, and it's just so much fun at the table. That the games that we've had playing with my family, people squealing with laughter, and just these crazy emotional moments as you watch these seemingly unintelligent mascots move across a racetrack with brilliant production design towards the finish line. Sometimes they're turning around and going the wrong direction. Sometimes they're falling down and they're crawling their way to the finish. It's brilliant. What makes it so interesting to me is not just that you're racing and you're betting. That's fun, right? But the interesting thing is you've got a predetermined deck of cards that's randomly generated, and then you get to place all those cards out, and everyone gets to see which racer is going to have more movement, which racer is going to have more falls. You get to see this. So you can place your bets based on that, but there's a draft of the betting so that whoever goes first is also going last for their second bet. It's really smart. It's really interesting. But on top of that, each player gets to add an additional hand to that, an additional card to that deck, which can really change the outcome. There's a star card for each character that will make them jump way ahead towards the next star. And like, if you can play that in to someone who looks like they're not going to win, and those cards come out in an order that's in your favor, you can really jump ahead. You can also sabotage. Oh, my wife over here, she bet high on this character, and I've got another fall down card or a turnaround card. So I'm going to play that in. You can mess with each other. It's so fun. I didn't think I would enjoy it. I loved it. I'm glad I listened to the people who recommended it. That is Hot Streak. Okay, this game on my list is one of the most gorgeous, mind-blowing visual games that I've seen in a long time, and that is Wrath. This is a game by Chip Theory Games. Manny Tremblay, I believe, did both the game design and the art. Incredible artist. But the color palette here is absolutely mind-boggling to me. There's these neon colors. The character design is great, as Manny Tremblay does so well with Dice Throne and those kinds of games. He's a great character designer as well, visually. But this game, to me, is so fun for several reasons. First of all, it's mostly an area control game. So you're trying to amass your forces, you're trying to take over different areas, each of which gives you a different amount of points during a specific phase of the game. So yes, there's combat. Yes, you're pushing characters out, but that Eurogame style of points makes it feel less mean to me. For some reason, it feels like you can still you don't have to eliminate other players completely from an area to still get points. So there's a little bit of sharing, or I don't know, a little bit of Care Bear sensitivity as much as you could get in an area control game. The thing that I really enjoy about this game is the completely and absolutely asymmetric factions that are just crazy good. Every one of these characters, it comes with 4 in the box. There's 2 available in an expansion, each separate expansions. Every character to me is so fun and so interesting and so different. It's one of those games where you can finish a game and say, okay, let's play again right away, and I want to play this faction. Or I want to play this faction that I just played again so that I can make better use of the abilities that they've got. Now, one of the reasons you can do that, you can turn right around and play again, is because games are short. Now, I can understand many players may think this is too short. Games are like 30 to 40 minutes. It feels like you're just digging in and the game is practically over. I love that. I love that most of the game is spent on building up your forces and making quick decisions and reactions, and it never feels like you're playing too long. I imagine you could always lengthen the victory points. You could go for more victory points and extend your game very easily. But to me, part of that fun and charm is that you can play it twice in a row and it won't overstay its welcome. So that is Wrath by Chip Theory Games. Now, this game is taking advantage of one of my absolute favorite mechanics in board games. One of my gateway mechanics, tile laying. I love putting down tiles on the table. I don't know what it is. I find it so interesting and so fun to build little universes or cities or towns with tiles. I just love it. So number 8 is going to be Twinkle Twinkle, and that comes to us from All Play. This is a brilliant tile-laying game by Eamon Anderson, who also designed Gnome Hollow, which is another great tile-laying game, which you should probably check out if you're a tile-laying game person, because I absolutely love that one too, and that one has magnets. So Twinkle Twinkle, you are building out your own constellation, and you've got these modular scoring tiles, which are telling you what different constellations you're going for. You can get points by getting the most constellations. You can get points by placing certain tiles adjacent to other tiles. You can get points by not placing certain tiles together. There's just so many different scoring options. Since it's modular, every game can be different. There's expansions that add different scoring functions, different aliens, and all different kinds of fun things. But one of the things that I really love about this game is building my own little constellation, my own star chart in the sky. Now, it's also made so much more enjoyable by these clear acrylic tiles that let your nebula, or whatever it is underneath your board, shine through. It's gorgeous. These tiles are so fun. There's also a really interesting action selection system where whoever's first gets to choose first, and their choice determines their playing order on the next round. So if I'm the first player and I want that third tile over because it's the best, most powerful tile for me, and what I'm doing, I move over to 3. That means in the next round, I'm going to play third in the player order. So that's a really interesting mechanic. It's a gorgeous game. I would describe it as kind of a cozy tile-laying game. It's so interesting though, because there's a lot of scoring possibilities. So there's some real math involved mentally. You're thinking, okay, if I place that there, I'm going to get a few more points. If I place that there, I'm going to get a few less points, but I kind of like it. Like I found myself just making kind of a pretty pattern on my first game because I didn't really know how the scoring works. And that's another great thing. This is a game you can play with people who are not gamers, and they can really just build out a constellation, build out a star chart. They don't have to gun for those high points, but it's really great. There's a real challenging puzzle here if you want to go for those maximizing of points. And if you just want to play and relax with your friends who are much better at planning math and points than you can still really enjoy this game. So that is Twinkle Twinkle by All Play. Okay, my number 7 game is Magic all in and of itself. It has a special charm that I've really enjoyed, and really enjoyed discovering different things with different friends that I've been playing with. That is Core of Discovery by Off the Page Games. This is a game where you've got this grid, and you are essentially starting with all of these grid tiles covered. And you're moving through and you're flipping tiles. They're not tiles, they're little discs, which is really feels great in your hands, by the way. And you're pulling off these discs and revealing what's underneath. Now, each level has a different set of rules for what different resources or monsters or whatever it is underneath the tile. So you may say, or for example, if there's food here, the rules may say food appears next to at least one monster, or the wood is appearing next to water, or whatever it is, because it changes from game to game, depending on the map you're playing and which expansion you're playing with. But there's a real feeling of like an advent calendar. Like you're revealing these little things and you're trying to solve this puzzle in your brain about where do I get to the resources so that we don't die of starvation or we don't get killed in the end, because you're playing Lewis and Clark on their expedition. You've got these character cards that gives each character kind of asymmetric ability or a one-time use or once per round use kind of thing. It depends on the character. But it's so different from other games that I've played. You've got this tableau of cards that you're playing in, and you are trying to get through these days and hours of your day without starving. So you've got to get the water, you've got to get the food, you've got a different mission on each one. Sometimes you have to hunt down the Minotaur, or you have to hunt down this, or you have to get rid of that. I don't want to give too many spoilers, but it's so interesting in its puzzliness. It's such a great puzzle, and you really feel like you're discovering. Like you are discovering this land. It comes with all kinds of sheets for different replayability. And if you go a few months without playing, you can play the same sheets over and over. So there's so much in the box. There's a bunch of expansions. It's a really fantastic game, and it's cooperative. And so it's really fun to play that game with other people and strategize and try to figure out how you want to do it. Also, a fantastic solo game for you solo gamers out there. So that is Core of Discovery by Off the Page Games. All right, if you've been watching any of my reviews, this will come as no surprise to you. This is a 2-player game where you're going head to head. It's genius in its simplicity and in its fun. I love it so much. This is Tag Team. This is brought to you by Scorpion Mask and Hachette Games. It is fantastic. This game is one of my favorite 2-player games. I do enjoy dueling games, and this is a game where you're fighting each other. Each player gets 2 heroes, and those 2 heroes each have their own deck of cards. Well, you program your deck as you go. So each hero starts with 1 card. So you've got a 2-card deck, right? At the end of each turn, you're drawing a few cards and then choosing one to throw into your deck. Your deck is never getting shuffled. So you're thinking at the beginning, do I place it on top, in the middle, or on the bottom, because it's a programmed deck. Now, the thing you don't know is what card your opponent has drawn and what order they're putting that in. So you may have a really good attack card, but you don't want to put it up against their best defense card. Now, it also works really interestingly in that each card that you're pulling applies to one of your specific characters. And so when you're playing your card down, that character whose card you've got is the one attacking for however many damage they're able to do, and they're attacking the active character in the other player's tableau of 2 characters. So there's so many interesting combinations. I think it comes with 12 or 16 characters. I don't know, it's probably 12, but it feels like it might be 16 because there's so much choice. And so you also get a lot of replayability out of which characters you're playing together, because some characters may fit your strategy better. Some combinations may work together for what you'd like to do, or you're just randomly drafting and then you've got to figure out something that works for both. It's really fast. It plays in like 15 to 20 minutes. My son and I played it over and over and over again, all in a row, because he just wanted to say, let me try this other combination. There's complexity levels. There's like from simple to I think 5 complexity levels. And so you can really, each character can fit your needs as you'd like. If you want to play with someone and they play 2 characters on the most simple mode, that's great. So it's such a great game, so fun to play. Really a fantastic 2-player duel game. If you like that fighting in that style, it's absolutely awesome. Tag Team. Okay, this next game it's a little magical for me. It's really smart. The design is really fantastic and introduces new mechanics that I absolutely love, while matching those up with other mechanics that I also love that work so well. So this next game is Emberleaf by Frank West at City of Games. This game, first of all, the art is adorable. Frank West brought us the Isle of Cats and a bunch of other really cute, smart games. But Emberleaf feels much more like a Euro game. And you've got so many things to do, there's so many ways to gain points. But this mechanic of card dancing is brilliant. So you've got a player board, and on your player board, you're playing down cards, and you've got two rows to play your cards. But at a certain point, you're moving your cards, you're cycling those cards to the left. And cards have different abilities. So you may have a specific card that gives you resources that every time it moves to the left, you're gaining that resource. You may have other cards that when they reach the end of the queue and leave and go back into your hand, that's when you cash in. So I think he calls it card dancing. I think that's a phenomenal name for the feeling of this great mechanic where you're sliding cards, and the cards are giving you powers as they're sliding or as they're doing different things. It's really smart. It's really brilliant. The map is really interesting. You're controlling different areas and you're getting victory points based on those areas. It's beautiful. Fantastic production. And it just, that mechanic alone, besides living in this gorgeous little world of Emberleaf, the sliding of the cards and powering, there's something about it that just captures my imagination that feels so good to slide a card and get a benefit from sliding it through those slots. So that is Emberleaf by Frank West and City of Games. Holy cow, this game is the biggest, heaviest, most diverse game on my list. It is a campaign game, and I believe it's the only campaign game on my list. And boy, howdy, is it a campaign game. This is Iridia, the Paths We Dare Tread by Far Off Games. Iridia breaks so many rules that I thought I knew about campaign games. First off, the production is absolutely insane. It is incredible. And for example, the minis are painted, and not only are the minis painted, but they have exchangeable heads. So you can pick the look of your character between the class and the race. You can choose and customize those. They're fully painted, they're beautiful. Now this was a Kickstarter, and I can't remember which pledge that I got, but oh my gosh, this game, I believe, is deluxeified from the get-go. You've got these things that you're punching out. You've got things that you're flipping, the tiles, the maps, you've got secret envelopes, you've got everything. It's a campaign game that I think plays, well, it plays from 1 to 4, maybe 5. I think it's 1 to 4. Yeah, it's 1 to 4. But I played mostly solo, except for the first few adventures. My wife was like, that's really fun. And then I was like, I've got to play this by myself if I'm ever going to get through it. I spent probably 30 to 40 hours on this game, and I feel like I got about 2/3 of the way through before I had to pull it down. You know, I kept it up on my table for months, just playing every chance I could get, just chipping away, doing these side quests that I knew weren't necessarily moving me too far forward through the story, but were just fun. The combat system's really interesting. You've got dice that you're rolling to see what part of your body that these hits are landing on, and you can fortify those different points with upgrades, and you're buying upgrades, and you're trading things, and you're finding these artifacts. The story is great. The writing is great. It is an immersive world that feels like they thought of everything from story down to how can we make touching these parts and revealing envelopes and popping things open. How can we make this feel like an adventure for the gamer and not just the character in the game? It's brilliant. I wouldn't say it's heavy. I mean, there's a lot of mechanics to learn, but once you're up and running, it doesn't feel like a heavy game. What it feels like is a deep game, where unless you've got, I don't know, 40 to 80 hours to play, this may not be a game for you, but my goodness, absolutely incredible. I look forward to diving back in. In fact, the only reason I haven't jumped back in to play since I first took it down, the storage system is great. I'm wondering if I'm going to know where I am in the story. So drop that in the comments. If you've jumped back in after a long time, if they make it really easy, I'm not sure what to expect for jumping back in, but I'm really looking forward to diving back in and finishing maybe one of the first campaign games I've ever finished. It's certainly the one I most want to finish. So that is Iridia, The Paths We Dare Tread by Far Off Games. Now I'm going to make a confession to you. I am cheating here, but it's my list, so I can cheat however I want. These games that I'm tying for number 3 fit together like this in so many ways. And let's go into them. They are both Lord of the Rings games, and they're both published by Office Dog, which has put out some absolutely incredible games, just a wonderful company. And those games are Fellowship of the Ring trick-taking game and The Hobbit, There and Back Again. Now, I know they're completely, absolutely different games. They're so different, but they're both so brilliant. So I'm going to talk about them separately, but now maybe you see why I've put them together on the list, because I couldn't choose between them. They're so similar in theme, and I absolutely love them both. That's why they're high on my list. So let's talk first about Fellowship of the Ring trick-taking game. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. This is a game where you have story chapters and you're playing through the book The Hobbit, basically. No, you're not. You're playing through Fellowship of the Ring, of course, the first in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. And what you're doing is, it's a cooperative trick-taking game where certain characters have to win or lose a certain amount of tricks. There's unlocks all through the game, which is so fun. I love unlocking things. Another reason why I love Iridia so much, so many unlocks as you go. But you're unlocking new characters, you're unlocking new items, you're unlocking at times new decks of cards. That's all I'm going to say. I hope that doesn't spoil it for too many people, but if you've already missed out, jump on it now. Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring trick-taking game is so smart. I have another whole video about the games that have most changed my life. That Lord of the Rings trick-taking game, I believe, was number 1 on my list chronologically because it's the most recent. So you might want to check out that video because it's really fun. And I go into detail of how these games each changed my life. So check that out. I'll put a link in the description. But it completely changed my outlook on trick-taking games. I went from it being my least favorite mechanic to being a mechanic that I really can enjoy now, particularly with games that do it well or do it in a unique and interesting way. And Fellowship of the Ring trick-taking game is genius in that aspect. Another game that we played through the whole thing, and it's hard too, they get harder. Like, there's only a handful of chapters where one of the missions we only played once and we succeeded. It was usually like, okay, great. We failed that. What did we do wrong? Now let's figure it out. It's one of those games where you can't talk as you're going. You can't let them know what's in your hand, of course. So there's a real silent cooperative aspect to it, which is just delightful. So that game totally changed my life because it changed my perspective about trick-taking games, and it's fantastic. Okay, there and back again, The Hobbit. Now this is a Reiner Knizia game. It's genius in its simplicity. It's a roll and write game. You don't roll, well, you do roll. You do roll. There's custom dice, and you've got a storybook, right? Beautifully crafted, visually and thick roll and write storybook that goes through these chapters of The Hobbit. They each have a different puzzle. They each have new rules. You're essentially, it's hard to say because you're doing different things, but in some maps you're drawing paths. In other maps, you're trying to connect paths from one person to a location. And then you're journeying through maps in the other paths. You've got bonuses for certain sides of dice. There's so much going on in this game, but it tends to be a very simple to play, very accessible game. It's competitive, it's not cooperative, so you're trying to get the most amount of points. There's characters from Lord of the Rings. The art is amazing. Same thing for the trick-taking game. My goodness gracious, the art in both of these games is so good. Oh, it's so good and so different too, by the way. Like the styles are different. That stained glass the trick-taking game is so beautiful. And it's more cartoony in There and Back Again, which is just delightful. It kind of reminds me of the original The Hobbit movie, the animated movie from way back when. I don't know what year. I was a kid. It was great. Anyway, it's so interesting. It's so good. It's so simple. And it captures that theme really well of like, I'm puzzling along. I have to puzzle myself from here to there and beat the other players in doing it. It's really fantastic. So that's There and Back Again. And the Fellowship of the Rings trick-taking game, both by Office Dog. Amazing games. I love cozy games. I love them. I know some people don't prefer that term. I think it's a great term that embodies this. I want to sit down and chill and relax, and I want a game that isn't gonna stress me out. It's gonna relax me. It's gonna allow me to really enjoy my time and the other people at the table along the way. And one of my favorite game of the year that does this so beautifully well is Pergola by Rebel Studios. I think it's right there. It's right there. You are basically building out very Eurogame style. Everything is gaining you points. These things synergize. You've got like a fountain, a waterfall track that lets you move down and get points and resources. You've got your very own little backyard pergola, which I had to look up, by the way, which is just, it's just like a little area. It's a little area where you can build out. It feels like your backyard, right? With a latticed roof or whatever it is. Every player board is beautiful, and you're buying things, or you're on your turn, you're taking these amazing little gardening tools, and that's the action selection system, right? There's a draft. You've got four of these out, or five, I think it's four, and you're grabbing it, and it's like a little spade or a little trowel, and it tells you what benefits you're gaining or what resources you're gaining on there, and then you put it into your own personal little tool shed, little tool holder at the end, and you're placing butterflies, and you're placing ladybugs, and you're planting flowers, and you're putting lanterns, like these incredible, beautiful things. And they don't have to go, some of them don't have to go in very specific places. Like, it's like a canvas. It's a canvas for you to build out your very own beautiful backyard wonderfulness. It's so well designed. It's one of these games where there's so many things going on. There's so many ways to gain points. And there is a learning curve, but it's also just, one game and then you've got everything, right? There's so many things going on, so many ways to gain points that you play it and I was like, oh, I kind of focused on this. Now I want to play it and I want to focus on another way to gain points. So it's really brilliant and fantastic that way. And it's just incredible to build out your own little beautiful area. It's so beautiful. The components are incredible. Like these ladybugs are wood, butterflies, dragonflies. There's some cardboard, there's some wood. You got these cute little frogs that are jumping around this other this other place where you can get points and get resources, as well as the waterfall, as well as your board. So you've got these various different places where you can just do whatever you want. It's beautiful, it's smart, it's cozy, it's puzzly. It's really puzzly. There are a few games that I've played that feel so cozy while also balancing a lot of point efficiency. So it's this really interesting blend, but it's so beautiful. That's why it's my number 2 and fighting for number 1, because it could have easily been number 1. But let's move on. My number 1 game seems to be a very polarizing game. Some people love it, some people don't love it. I freaking love it. And not just me, my whole family loves it too. Anytime we have a family gathering, kids come in from out of state, we want to play this game. And that is Moon Colony Bloodbath by Rio Grande Games. It is so fun to me, this idea of we're gonna die. We just are trying to hold on. It's like the robots are attacking. What could go wrong? Everything could go wrong. So we have this family joke every time we start to play. It's like, hey, this is great. I've got all this great stuff to deal with. We've got moon colonies. We've got people. What could go wrong? Because everyone knows what's coming. We just joke the whole game like, this is great. We're going to totally survive this time. Nothing could go wrong. But it really does. So, to explain what this game is, if you haven't played yet, it is designed by the designer of Dominion. And he's a genius as far as I'm concerned. He created this whole deck building genre. Donald Vaccarino. I think I said it right enough. So this guy, I'm sorry, I think he's a genius. Like Dominion was the first deck building game. It spawned one of my favorite genres in modern board games. It also is just so smart. I think it totally holds up today. It's still brilliant. It still works. They've added many other things to this genre, and some improvements and some maybe not improvements, and some things that are just as good. But the game still holds up. And oh, I didn't pull that one up. I got to know what year Dominion came out. Well, there's second edition. There's the first edition. Thank you again for your patience. My goodness. The original Dominion came out in 2008. 2008. So that's almost 20 years ago. It is now one of the biggest genres. Anyway. Okay. Back to Moon Colony Bloodbath. So it is a deck builder, but there is a communal deck. It's a competitive game, but this one deck tells us all these terrible things and good things that can happen as you go. So as you're building out your tableau of buildings that give you certain benefits, you're building your engine, and then things start going exponentially wrong as your colonists get killed off. There's a timer deck, and this deck basically goes from, well, you start off with a very simple deck, and there's 13 event cards, I think it's 13, that get added and shuffled in and just make things get worse and worse and worse, virtually guaranteeing that you never make it to the end of the game. I don't think we've ever made it to the end of the game. I do think the more people you play with, the easier it is to get further along. But as soon as one player's out, game over. Everyone counts up their remaining colonists. That's the winner. It's so fun. It's so interesting. It's such a fun twist on the deck building game that Donald Vaccarino invented himself. It's just a really smart twist on this. And the fun that we have had as a group playing this game over and over cannot be understated. So on fun and looking forward to playing this game with my family alone, number one on my top 10 list of games that made my 2025 even better. I'm not kidding when I say these games made my year better. They really did. They brought me together with family and friends and let us sit down together and abide by a set of rules that the designer had come up with, and the publisher created this art and components and all these things so that we could spend time together and play, which is so important, especially in the world today. Being able to play and exercise that part of your brain that needs to play, even though we're adults, is so valuable and so wonderful. So let me ask you, do you have games that you think should have been on my list? Because I know there's a lot of games I didn't get to play. This game, I haven't been able to play it yet. I'm thinking it's going to be on my list, but I didn't get to it. There's a lot of games I haven't been able to play enough times to make a judgment on for putting in my top 10 list. Those are the ones that I came back to again and again for the reasons that I mentioned, and I absolutely love them all. So don't forget, I've got another video on the standalone expansions and standalone games that are from either popular or not very popular games that made my 2025 better. I had to make a separate list just for those games because they're so amazing, and I couldn't fill up my list with all expansions. It just didn't seem right. So all of those standalone expansions and expansions are on another video. Check it out in the description below. Thanks again, my friends. I'm linking the Game Bard. If you've liked this, if I've given you any value here or suggestions for new games you might want to try, please hit that like and subscribe button. Make a comment. It really does help me out, and I love you.